Before I start this tutorial today, I would like to let everybody know that you need a Finch to run this program. So if you do not have a Finch, I suggest you either leave the video or get a Finch from finchrobot.com. It is a great tool to have if you're learning robotics or if you're going to the field of robotics and computers, and I suggest you get one. So without further ado, this is Finch Visual Programmer. And what you can do with this program is any function that the Finch can do in a sequence. Unlike Finch Dreams, this is a sequence builder, as I just said, and it is more for making your Finch robot do sequences that you want it to do, instead of, say, use your arrow keys to move it forward, backwards, left and right, make it spin around and all that other stuff. So to make your Finch robot move from this screen, you have to have motor 1 selected and motor 2 selected, and then they will show up over here in this box, and you can move this little bar here forward and back, and depending on how far you move it forward or back is how far or how fast the left wheel will move forwards or backwards. And then it's the same for motor 2, but it's the right wheel. So say you want to make your Finch move forward. I already have an expression for it, but you can set this at like 65, and you can set this one also at 65 or 63 or 65, and then your Finch will move forward. Or you can set them, say, both backwards, and then your Finch will move backwards. And then you can, say, use this tricolor LED function, which is located on the Finch's nose, and you can move this bar, and however far this bar is moved to, it will set the color of the Finch's nose, so you can set it to red, green, blue, etc. On the back, or the tail of the Finch, you can find this little buzzer function. If you have that selected, you can play notes on the piano and they will come out of the Finch. So next, what you need to know about Finch Visual Programmer is definitely the expressions. Once you have multiple things or one thing or two things selected on this Finch robot right here, then you can save it, and you can save it as an expression. So say that you want your Finch to have like a forward command. You could set this to 20. You could set this one to 20. 21. It doesn't matter. And once they're both at 20, then you can save it. You can save it as a copy, and you can save it as whatever you want. And then once you have that function, and you can make a function for any of these. You can make a function for the color of its nose, or a buzz sound that it makes, or you can make the motors do whatever you want. Then you can come over to this sequence builder, and I already have a whole bunch of expressions from playing with this, but you can just drag the expressions from this box over here labeled expressions, and you can put them in. And then whatever you put in will display for the duration that you want it to. So I have buzz for 1 second, forward for 1 second, and backwards for 1 second. And you can set the duration with this little timer button. So if I click play, it'll buzz, it'll move forward, and then it'll move backwards, and it'll continue to move backwards until I put in a stop command. And then it'll stop. It plays the last function that you have in your sequence infinitely in a loop. So if you don't have a stop command there, it'll do your last command even if you don't realize it over and over and over and over again. Say right now it's doing my stop command over and over and over and over again. And then there's these more complicated things down here. There's not too much you really need to know about these. There's a counter and there's a sensor. The counter counts your sequences and then replays them whenever you want them to replay. And then this more difficult sensor thing down here is really cool because it can censor where your Finch is in space. So say right now my Finch is directly flat, and it says that it is directly flat, but if I tip it upside down immediately, the bar goes nearly all the way down. Or if I directly turn it to 90 degrees, it'll stay in the middle. So the way that you can use this thing is that you can, for example, have your Finch point upwards, and then you can have its nose be green, and then you can turn it upside down, and you can have his nose be red. You can find a lot of videos of these on YouTube. I might even make one myself. But this is how you use the program Finch Visual Programmer. You can play with it and you can figure out stuff yourself, and maybe you could even show me something. But if you have any questions about it right now, you can leave them in the comment section below and I would be glad to answer them for you. Thank you and goodbye.